Do we talk about it? Let's talk about it. Welcome back, everybody, to another video on the channel. And I know you guys are wondering, why is he dressed so dapper? Why is he dressed so nice? I had to dress up for the downfall of the eternal rivals. You know, we had to stun on them. We had to look good, you know. It was a day of celebration, a day of joy, a day of ecstasy, a day of sheer happiness. And in that moment, I just had to look my best. So I just had to put this on for myself as well as for all of you at home. To all my Real Madrid fans, I sincerely apologize. You know, this is how life goes. We have our days, you have your days. We destroy you some years, you destroy us some years. But this time, the sun has shone on us after many, many, many treacherous years. And we're going to discuss it today. And of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. What else are you waiting for? Football is back. My beautiful football club is back. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how Barcelona overcame Real Madrid, the key performers from both sides, good and bad, as well as one man who changed the entire trajectory of this game. Let's get right into it. Now, the first person that I want to talk about in this game, and the main person that I want to talk about, is Pedri Gonzalez. Now, Pedri Gonzalez, this guy, you guys don't get it. This guy, he's not a normal footballer. You see the way people talk about the likes of Xavi and Iniesta. Now, I'm not saying he's at that level, but goodness me, this guy is ridiculous. You look at the way he turned up to the Bernabeu on Saturday and basically marshaled the entire midfield next to Casado, who was incredible throughout the game. He doesn't look like he's ever really under much pressure. He never really looks like he's being rushed. Despite his miniature stature, he still gets into very good duels against bigger, stronger, more athletic players than him. He never shies away from a challenge. He always wears his heart on his sleeve. He's got incredible first touch. Tight spaces doesn't matter. Players pressing him, it doesn't matter. He jinks out of those positions like it's nothing. There is no midfielder in world football like Pedri Gonzalez. I call him Pedro Gonzalez because he's my guy. You know, me and him, we go way back since Las Palmas. That's my guy. So I call him by first name basis. You know, everyone calls him Pedri. That's his nickname. I call him Pedro Gonzalez. That's his name. That's what we used to call him back in the day. Because goodness me, what a player. As they say in Spain, que jugador. Oh my goodness. This guy against the midfielder Bellingham, Camavinga, who was incredible. He was probably the only player for Real Madrid who actually had a good game. And Tchouaméni, as well as Valverde. Best midfielder on the night. Just ridiculous. And I've said it before. I've said it on this channel, and I'll keep on saying it. This guy, when he's fully fit, don't compare him with the Bellinghams, with the Musialas, with the... Please, don't do that. Compare him with the Kevin De Bruynes. Compare him with the Nicolo Barellas. Compare him with the world-class midfielders of the game. Don't compare him with the youth, upcoming youngsters who are trying to make a name. Don't do that. I beg of you. Look, come from my heart. From me to you, please don't do that. Don't belittle him to that status. He's clear of these, man. When Pedri was balling out in the Euros, where was Musiala? When Pedri was balling out, winning team of the tournament, getting to the semi-final at 18 years of age, where was Florian Wirtz? Where was Jude Bellingham? Where was he? Where were these guys? Don't compare Pedri with these guys. I beg of you, please don't. Because he's in a different galaxy altogether. And that takes me on to another out-of-this-world talent and footballer, Lamine Yamal. I've been telling you guys since February, this kid is not normal. He's not normal. And it's a shame that it took people having to watch him at the European Championships to realize that what this kid is doing doesn't make any sense. Don't believe that because he's scoring goals and he's getting assists that this is a normal practice, that every 17-year-old that comes into the game should be doing this. This kid is not normal. He's not. You look at the way he turned up, and I feel like Lamine Yamal represents something much bigger at this football club than what it is he does on the field. You look at the way he spoke after the game against Bayern Munich, talking about how we believe we're the best team in the world and we're going to show that against Real Madrid. May the best team win. He's got that arrogance about him at 17 years old to be able to speak in the media in that way, to be able to put essentially your reputation out on the line, because if the game doesn't go the way you want it to go, those quotes are going to come back to bite you. But he doesn't care about that because he backs his own ability. He has confidence in his team and in his ability himself. You look at the goal he scores, weak foot, near post, top corner, and then goes on and does a little dance. He's doing a little dance at the Bernabeu at 17, showing off his grills like he's Lil Baby at 17, telling the Bernabeu fans, telling the Bernabeu crowd, "Yo estoy aquí. I'm the one that's here." He's a superstar. This guy is a superstar, and you need a superstar at your football club. You need a superstar. If you're going to be in the upper echelons of football team, you need that superstar. Honestly, you do. And people will clown us. They'll say, you're relying on a 17-year-old. This is not a normal 17-year-old, man. This guy scored a goal at the Bernabeu, told the fans to calm down, I'm the one that's here, and then danced at 17 years old. And you're saying this is a normal 17-year-old. Please, leave me with that. Allow that. This guy is not normal. Again, today in the game, you could probably even say it wasn't one of his better games. He was a bit wasteful with some of the chances he had, particularly in the first half. But you look at that second half, just growing into the game constantly. Could have had an assist for Lewandowski. Lewandowski could have scored 4 goals in this game. But we won't be greedy. You know? It says you should not be gluttonous. That's what they say. Do not be gluttonous. Take what you have and accept it. And we'll take the 4-0 win and we'll go back to Barcelona. But Lamine Yamal. I'm a very conservative fan when it comes to Lamine Yamal. Ever since I've seen him through, I think the game that really sparked that idea in my mind that, okay, this kid is different, was the game against, I believe it was Mallorca. Came off the bench, got a goal and an assist. Away from home at Mallorca. Anybody who watches La Liga consistently knows that's not an easy thing to do. Ever since that game, I knew this kid wasn't a normal talent. And today he showed that again. Goodness me, what a player, what a performance. And who else can I even speak about? We could speak about the entire team. But the next thing that I really want to talk about is Real Madrid. And I want to talk about one man in particular, and that's Kylian Mbappe. And before we even talk about Kylian Mbappe by himself, let's tie it back to Lamine Yamal. Lamine Yamal has played Kylian Mbappe now twice in the last 6 months, 4-5 months. He's played him in the Champions League. Okay, yeah. He played him in the Champions League. He's played him in La Liga, and he's played him in the European Championships. Let's all be honest here. Now I know all of you will probably say, "Oh, will PSG still beat you regardless?" Let's be completely honest here. PSG did not deserve to win that game. If Ronald Araujo had not idiotically gotten sent off, we would have easily won that tie. And before that red card, Lamine Yamal was stunting on this guy. Take it to the European Championships if you don't accept that one. Dunked on his head with a finesse shot from outside the box. Absolutely dunked on his head while he was wearing a mask looking like a teenage mutant ninja turtle. This guy. And then you come to the El Clasico. While Kylian Mbappe is getting caught offside 8 times, Lamine Yamal is scoring in the top corner at the Bernabeu and telling the fans to calm. This kid is not normal. But that takes us on to Kylian Mbappe, the supposed best player in the world, the apparent heir to Messi and Ronaldo. Amen. Uncomfortable conversations, and I'm not the one that's going to start these conversations because, in my opinion, I still expect Kylian Mbappe to kick on. I don't want to believe Kylian Mbappe will be a flop. If Kylian Mbappe is a flop at Real Madrid, amen. Let me not say too much. For how long they've waited for that guy to come to this club, the way Real Madrid fans were talking about him when he arrived, saying Barcelona is not going to win anything for the next 10 years. All right, bro. I dare him to flop. I dare Kylian Mbappe to flop. I dare him. Honestly, I dare him to flop. So for me, in this game, you look at how many times he's being caught offside. That's not even the main problem for me. The main problem for me is his finishing, even when he was onside. And even in the chances where he was offside and the game was allowed to play on, it's not like this guy is finishing these chances. I think he had about 7 shots and only scored 1 of them. There were about 3 of them that were clear-cut, one-on-one with Iñaki Peña, and he missed every single one. So for me, my problem wouldn't even be the fact that he's being caught offside 8 times, because Barcelona's offside trap is absolutely ridiculous. Genuinely, it was. And I feel like people are not giving us credit for that. They're just claiming that we were lucky and claiming that Mbappe is a fool for being caught out for it. All right, if that's what you want to call it, if you just want to blame Mbappe rather than credit the team who actually organized their defense, then so be it. But hey, man, Kylian Mbappe, he needs to work his stuff out. I don't know what's going on with him. I've not been moved by Kylian Mbappe in a very, very, very long time. I think the last time I watched Kylian Mbappe and I was genuinely like, wow, this guy is still at the top of his game, was probably the World Cup, maybe start of last season in the Champions League. But other than that, it's been pretty meh from Kylian Mbappe. And I have a lot of problems with Kylian Mbappe as a player. I love him as a footballer, but the way he carries himself, I don't know. There's a lot of things about it that I don't like. And that could be a video all in itself, but I'll just keep it to what it is in today's game. Very poor performance from him. Poor performance all around from Real Madrid players. I don't really know what it was that they were trying to do in this game, but you look at the way that Barcelona set up, I feel like in the first half, there were a lot of problems, and Real Madrid were causing us a lot of problems. They were. It wasn't an easy victory. 4-0. I wouldn't say it flatters us, because I do believe we could have probably even scored 6 or 7. But if you're looking at the overall basis of the game, maybe 4-0 is a bit flattering in Barcelona's case. And in actual fact, you could probably say Real Madrid could have been 2 or even 3 goals up by halftime. But at halftime, Hansi Flick made one change that completely changed the game. Now, in the first half of the game, Barcelona set up in a 4-2-3-1. And it was a 4-2-3-1 that actually had Fermin Lopez playing in that number 10 position, which was the exact same lineup that we had going into the game against Bayern Munich. And it worked so well because Fermin Lopez is so chaotic in the way in which he operates. He's able to run past Lewandowski, but he's also able to work inside those tight spaces in the midfield, as well as kind of overlapping and underlapping for Rafinha and Lamine Yamal. But in this game, he wasn't particularly what we needed. And I think Hansi Flick realized that very quickly, especially because Fermin Lopez is a player who loses the ball a lot. Now, it has its positives, it has its disadvantages. Because against Bayern Munich, it didn't really matter how much we lost the ball, because Bayern Munich were the ones who essentially controlled the game. And then we hit them on the counterattack because Vincent Kompany's team is so insistent on keeping the ball. But against Real Madrid, they don't care about having the ball. We know this. I've said this before. Real Madrid don't have tactics. I'm joking. But Real Madrid don't want the ball. They don't want it as much as Bayern Munich do, and they definitely don't want it as much as Barcelona do. And Hansi Flick knew that by allowing Real Madrid to have the ball and pen us back, it created a really, really chaotic game that essentially just meant we were playing on the transition, which was not what we wanted, especially playing against Real Madrid, especially considering how much pressure they were putting on us in the first half. So he made one very easy switch that completely changed the game. Now I take you over to the tactics board. This is another new aspect of the channel that I'm going to be trying out. Let me know if it's something you guys like to see, and I'll make sure to use it in future videos. Now, this was the typical setup in the first half. This is how we set up. Real Madrid set up in their 4-4-2. Interestingly enough, they did not set up in that, what was it, a 3-4-3 that they set up in the last game. Again, begs the question, did they just do it because it was Celta Vigo, or was it something that he would do moving forward? Unfortunately, I didn't really watch their game against Dortmund, so I can't really say whether they implemented that against Dortmund, but I don't think they did. From the bits and pieces that I saw of the game, I don't believe they did. But in the starting lineup, Barcelona set up with Fermin Lopez in that number 10 position, as I said. He's able to operate in these positions here, essentially behind Lewandowski. He's able to drag defenders. Lewandowski's able to drag defenders out of position, and Fermin Lopez is then able to go ahead of Lewandowski. But that was not what we needed, because in the game, as I said, it was a very chaotic game. Fermin Lopez was kind of getting drowned out by Valverde, by Tchouaméni, by Camavinga, who was incredible in this game, might I add. And then he didn't really have an impact. So on came one man, one very, very good man, and one man that I personally believe Barcelona fans, the way they speak about this man, it's a disgrace to the sport. It's a disgrace to the sport, because this guy, he's a world-class footballer. And I got him right here. I don't got to go too far. This man right here. Frenkie De Jong. This man. The way some Barcelona fans talk about this guy, you'd believe that we have a player like Yves Bissouma, or Casemiro or Manuel Ugarte or Enzo Fernandez playing for our football club. The way some Barcelona fans talk about Frenkie De Jong, you wouldn't even be able to understand the player that you're watching and the way people talk about him. You'd be wondering who's in the wrong here. Is the player the one that's wrong, or are the fans just not able to see what it is that this guy does? Constantly berated with abuse, probably because of his incredibly high contract, but constantly berated with abuse despite being arguably our best midfielder at the club for the last 5 years. But anywho, in this game, he went off for Fermin Lopez. Frenkie De Jong came into this position and he allowed Pedri to go forward. And essentially what that meant, as well as a few other tweaks, including Yamal essentially operating in these half spaces. Of course, you have Vinicius playing high and wide. It was basically Camavinga versus Yamal in the first half. Camavinga and Mendy versus Yamal, because Jules Koundé could not afford to overlap Yamal with the risk of all this space being left behind. Yes, when we did press, when there was a goal kick, for example, for Real Madrid, you would see typically Jules Koundé would come forward onto Mendy. Yamal would go to the center back. Lewandowski would go to the center back. Rafinha would go to the right back, and so on and so forth. But he could not do it as much as he would typically like when you've got someone like Vinicius Jr. in behind you, as well as Kylian Mbappe, which is why Casado was so influential in this game throughout. But on Frenkie De Jong, what Frenkie De Jong offers you in this team, I've said it before, and I will always say it, no one in this team can do what Frenkie De Jong does. The closest person that can do it is maybe Pedri. And even Pedri, I don't think Pedri can carry the ball the way Frenkie De Jong carries the ball. Frenkie De Jong just offers you that control, that press resistancy that nobody at the club has. Maybe only Pedri, as I said. And in this game, it was crucial in allowing us to, just find those passing angles and find routes to goal. Essentially, what happened in the second half was Frenkie De Jong just operated in this position here, allowing Pedri to go a bit forward. By Pedri being able to go more forward, it meant that Lamine Yamal was more comfortable coming inside, knowing that Pedri could also go on the right, knowing that he can never lose the ball. These constant rotations, Rafinha constantly coming inside and Balde going out wide, and just being risky, taking a risk, knowing that Frenkie De Jong is not going to lose the ball. He's the ultimate insurance policy. And by him being here, it meant that Real Madrid were completely overloaded in these areas. And that's how it led to the first goal. You saw Lamine Yamal staying high and wide, essentially dragging Mendy back behind where everyone else in the defensive line was. And it just meant that Casado, who is actually in this position here, could just pick out a lovely pass in between the defenders. And Lewandowski was gone. And it may not be a goal, it may not be an assist for Frenkie De Jong, but what he does and what he adds to this team is something that the casual viewer just won't see. And you see another example of it in the second goal. And by extension of Frenkie De Jong being introduced into the game, it allows Pedri to go farther forward. And that's why I love Pedri as a footballer, because what Pedri offers you, he's good in the 6, he's good in the 8, he's good in the 10. Okay, he may not be as good as someone like Dani Olmo in the 10, but he can do a damn good job, and you know he's going to keep the ball. You look at this example here, this was for the second goal. This is essentially how the second goal came about. Pedri runs with the ball, lovely dribbling, doesn't lose the ball, plays it back to Casado. And this is essentially how Real Madrid are set up. Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe, as always, not really supporting the press, not really supporting defensively. And he plays this ball to Frenkie De Jong. And Frenkie De Jong just has all this space right here. All this space right here. It may not look big here, but it was pretty big on a football pitch. And it was pretty big in game. And essentially that just gives him all this space. And Rafinha makes this lovely run towards the ball that drags Vasquez out of position. And that pushes Balde to go. And because Frenkie De Jong is in this position here, Jude Bellingham can't overcommit to Balde, leaving all that space for Balde. And it just leaves Balde with all the time in the world. Vasquez not quick enough to get back. Lovely cross into the box. And that's cash money. Again, what Frenkie De Jong gives to this team is not something that, as I said, the casual viewer will see. Now, I probably see it because Frenkie De Jong's my guy. That's my guy. Since he came from Ajax, I've always backed him. And I believe that he's just not been able to fit into this team because there's no real position for him, especially when Sergio Busquets was at the club. But now, with the lack of a recognized defensive midfielder and with this new system that Flick is adopting at the club, maybe we might see something a little bit special with Frenkie De Jong. But the final thing that I wanted to talk about in this Barcelona game against Real Madrid was just the overall feeling coming from this game. Now, I haven't spoken a lot about Barcelona on this channel because for me, there's not really been much to talk about. You know, I started this channel when Xavi was, I think we had just won the league. Yeah, we had won the league already under Xavi, and we were going into the new season, which was last year. And the football was awful. The style of play was non-existent. There was nothing really to be excited about other than the fact that Lamine Yamal plays for my football club. Pedri was constantly injured. Gavi had gotten an ACL. Lewandowski was washed. Rafinha was horrible. And I had a lot of people, most of my friends, telling me I need to give Rafinha a formal apology. I need to come out on the channel and say, I apologize to Rafinha. I will never do that. Not because I'm hard-headed, not because I'm stubborn, but because I will not allow revisionism to take over. Rafinha was awful. He was not good. He was not good. I'm not going to allow this. He was not good. Okay, he has improved, and I love that for him because you can tell he really wants to make it at this club. But let's not rewrite history like Rafinha was always good. No, he was not. He was not, and I'm not allowing that. I'm not allowing that narrative to run and snowball as though Rafinha was always good at Barcelona. No chance. Okay, maybe you can say he wasn't being played in his right position. He's probably not a right winger that should be hugging the touchline and taking his man 1v1 as we were using him to do, like Ousmane Dembele. But that doesn't change the fact that he wasn't playing good. So that was something that I definitely wanted to say because a lot of people were telling me, oh, I need to issue an apology to Rafinha. No, he got better. Good for him. I congratulate you. Thank you for getting better and being a better footballer. It's as simple as that. But last but not least, I want to thank the manager, the man who's running it all, Hansi Dieter Flick. You know, I had beef with you for that 8-2. You know, you left a scar on me, but man, I'm in love with this guy. This guy is changing my life. He's changing my life, and he's changing the way we see football, man. And that's what I wanted to tie into the last point. You look at the way Barcelona played against Real Madrid, so direct, so expansive, so dynamic, so risky, so courageous with such a young team. It's incredible to see, and it's fun watching this team again. I feel like that's the most important thing because it's not every year we're going to beat Real Madrid, right? I don't expect Barcelona to beat Real Madrid every time we play them. The same way Real Madrid fans don't expect them to beat us every time we play them because football is fickle, football is volatile, things change and they change quickly. But the bare minimum is that I should enjoy watching my team. And for a long time, that hasn't been the case. But he's restored the feeling, man. He's restored the feeling. And in an age of football where things are so monotonous and so robotic and teams lack any real freedom and everything's so rigid, it was fun to watch a group of youngsters who loved the football club, who were fans and are still fans of the football club, just going out there and playing the game that they love for the club that they always loved. So Barcelona, nothing bad to say about Barcelona, at least for now. Things could change very quickly, but we'll enjoy the good times while they're here. But of course, that brings us to the end of today's video, my little talk piece about Barcelona. I'm not going to talk about Barcelona for a good time. I'll talk about other teams. I watched the Derby d'Italia this weekend. Mamma mia, what a game. Kenan Yildiz, Arda Güler, take notes. Go to a club that will play you. Don't just go to the big teams. Go to a club that will actually play you. Because Arda Güler is as good as Kenan Yildiz. But Arda Güler is just sitting on the bench watching Lamine Yamal, his junior, scoring in an El Clasico while he's sitting there watching. The same way I'm watching from my house. Come on, man. And Edric, don't even get me started on that guy. Don't even get me started on that guy. Arsenal drawing 2-2 with Liverpool in a game that was so good in the first half, and then in the second half, you know, Mikel Arteta reverted back to his very, very treacherous and boring ways. But alas, that's just how football is. Games change, and it should be very interesting to see Chelsea against Manchester United next weekend as Chelsea once again won. Cole Palmer continues to be just ridiculous, honestly. But as I said, that brings us to the end of today's video. Let me know what you guys thought about the El Clasico, or let me know what you thought about other games if you didn't catch the El Clasico. I don't really know why you wouldn't have watched the El Clasico. This is probably the most anticipated Clasico in probably the last 5-6 years. But if you didn't watch it, let me know what you did watch and what did you pick up from it. Let me know. Maybe I'll check it out myself. But of course, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, I've seen that 90% of you are not even subscribed to the channel. What are you doing? Subscribe, man. It helps me and it's free, right? In today's economy, I know things are hard. Everything's inflating. It's bad. But subscribe, man. Let's talk about football. Let's smile. Let's smile through the pain. I'm definitely doing that. But of course, if you guys enjoyed it, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.